Yeah, good morning, everybody. This is Dave Nichols from Tomball, Run EV Run, and it's a Thursday morning, and it's still not real hot. Just got back from getting me a haircut, bought me had my teeth cleaned, you know, all this personal health hygiene stuff, and bought me a new toothbrush, you know, a Sonic Care instead of an Oral-B. But anyway, that's not why I make these videos. I'm just starting out here. I'm in my favorite park here in Tomball. It's so you can see behind me, there's the dock over there, and then around here you can see the pond. Yeah, it's the pond right there. There's actually some fish out here that I was just sitting there watching. You know, it's kind of nice to see nature in its clean form, let's say. But you know, a thought occurred to me yesterday, and not the first time really, but you know, it kind of brought it home. Because I talked to several people throughout, you know, the day or the week or whatever, the month, about, you know, solar energy and climate change and climate crises and, you know, electric vehicles. And it really comes as no surprise, but there's a lot of people out there that haven't a clue as to what climate change is really all about, or a climate crises, or, you know, things like that. They just don't, or, you know, what is an electric vehicle? People just don't seem to have a clue a lot of times, or they, you know, they may have heard of it, but they don't really know anything about it. And so, of course, that's my opportunity. I jump right in if the opportunity permits and start talking. And you know, some people know about it and have a clue as what's going on. Other people don't. Yesterday, for instance, let's talk about yesterday. I walked into a Whole Foods store to buy some stuff for supper, and my car was out there at the charge point charging station, and I was charging it. And so while I was in there, I was, you know, grocery shopping and things like that, and I just happened to notice by the entrance to the door on the inside that this lady that I had seen get out of her Nissan Rogue, I believe it was, she was in there selling water. And so I, you know, just kind of like said, okay, well, let me just say hi. So I said, howdy, what you doing? And she says, well, I'm selling alkaline water. Alkaline water. And so then, of course, that rung a bell, because you know, your pH level, well, if it's a little bit more alkaline than it is acidic, the alkalinity seems to kill off certain things like allergies and other things. Okay, allergies is what stands out most at the moment, because I've had allergy problems. I still have allergy problems. But the thing is, I started this health thing about 3 years ago. The actual breathing technique is I believe it's called pranayama. But there's this guy named Wim Hof that's kind of taken it to a different level and made it popular, and it's being proved to help people. That and ice baths and things like that. But anyway, so when she said she was selling alkaline water, I says, well, you mean that raises your alkaline level, right? Your pH level? And she says, yeah, and it has healthy benefits. And, you know, so I got to talking to her a little bit about that, and then I got to telling her about the Wim Hof method and the pranayama breathing and how that does the same thing. Anyway, all this led to, she told me that she was renting a car right now. The Nissan that I saw her get out of was a Nissan, and it's rented. And she told me that, you know, she just lost her job, and her car was repossessed, the one that she had. And so we got to talking about cars, and of course I naturally said, you know, if you ever get to a place where you can do it, you need to get yourself an electric car. And so I proceeded to talk about Nissan Leafs and Teslas and Chevy Bolts and that kind of stuff. And she was really interested. But the thing is, because what she was interested in is I was telling her that I was charging at Whole Foods for free, and that I could do it at Sprouts for free, and other places around the city. You know, some places are free, some places cost. And she perked up, her interest perked up when I talked about, you know, charging for free. And so I got in, I says, well, you know what an electric car is, right? She didn't have a clue, really. She couldn't name me one electric car. And then she started talking about this phone app that she had where you can go out and rent cars from people and stuff. And when I kept saying electric, she kept finding other stuff to talk about. And I realized that she didn't really understand fully what I was talking about. She understood the concept of electric, but other than that, an electric car, it was kind of like a foreign thing to her, and she was grasping as to what I was talking about. So we was looking through her app and stuff and couldn't find any electric cars anywhere. We found a hybrid, and so I explained how a hybrid is. It's mostly gas and oil, and like maybe 30 miles on an electric, you know, battery, small one, but you know, it's mostly gas and oil. And so anyway, you know, long story short was that I educated her a little bit about what electric cars are, and I talked about my Leaf, because you know, my personal experience with the Leaf, and she was really interested. And then finally, you know, I said, well, I've talked your ear off enough, and she had several customers come by, but she kind of ignored him because she was listening to me talk about electric cars and stuff, and so I think she lost some customers in the process. But you know, hey, important things, you know, priorities and things like that, you know, take place. So anyway, I said, well, I got to go upstairs and drink my juice, which was called not a green goddess, but it's called a red cleanse. Really good, by the way. You know, the green goddess is good, the red cleanse is really good. There's other drinks in there that are probably really good too, just those are the only two I've tried so far. So anyway, I went upstairs and I sat down and I watched her. Well, she picked up all her stuff and packed her stuff up and left the store. And as she walked out, she looked over, because I was right behind her in charging my car, and I told her all about that. Anyway, she looked over and she was staring at my car for a minute, for about 30 seconds, so I could tell that she was interested and that I had sparked an interest in her. Anyway, this is nice and quiet out here. It's kind of calming and stuff, and this is, you know, semi-pollution free, no cars running around. But anyway, and that's kind of the thing that I run into a lot, is that people just don't have a clue about that. So anyway, this morning, just like maybe an hour ago at the most, I went over into Supercuts to get a haircut, because, you know, I started to feel a little self-conscious at my job and stuff about my hair being a little bit too long, and it was, you know, every time I go out of the AC, the fan and stuff was blowing my hair and hitting my eyes and all that stuff. So you know, anyway, so I got a haircut, but in the process, I keep diverging a little bit, you know, from this topic here. But I got to talking to this young lady about, you know, electric vehicles and stuff, and she actually knew something about electric vehicles, which is kind of rare, because most people I talk to, just all they know is the name. They've heard the Nissan Leaf, and a lot of people I say, well, isn't that partly electric, or is that mostly gas, or what is that? Is that one of them things that run on both? And of course, I educate people. So anyway, I got to talking to her. She was knowledgeable. She, you know, so we had a nice little conversation, talking about electric cars and Teslas and you know, Nissan Leafs and all that stuff. And she was telling me that, yeah, I told her that all the statisticians, people that study these kind of things about cars and movements and things like that, they say that in 10 years, almost all, if not all, brand new cars will be electric. And the only gas and oil cars that be around will be the you know, the used ones, the ones that have already been bought. And so for a while, mechanics will have a heyday repairing used cars, but after that, that's going to die out, because all the cars are going electric, whether it be a Nissan, whether it be Tesla, Chevy Bolt, Audi. There's all kinds of electric cars out there that are starting to come out and hit the market. Just starting, but you know, Tesla and Nissan are way ahead of the game. But anyway, so we had a nice conversation, and she knew a lot, and I was impressed, because one of my newfound goals in life is to educate people about, you know, what's happening in the world as far as the weather goes, and the climate change, and sea level rises, and electric vehicles, you know, electric vehicles, and that's one of my goals in life. And so, you know, hopefully, you know, you guys who are watching know something about this, but if you don't, look at my other videos, because this is like my 18th video, I think, and that's what I talk about, is electric cars and solar energy and wind, all this good stuff, you know, all the healthy stuff, okay? And in case I haven't mentioned it before, one of the big reasons that there's this big movement about electric cars and things like that is that all this stuff that we're throwing out in the air and polluting it, and this girl that knew about this stuff, she was telling me about stuff, you know, but all the stuff that we're throwing out in the air is damaging our air, is damaging the ozone, is damaging the climate, and it's causing things to heat up. And when things heat up, ice melts. You know, go into your kitchen and get a glass and fill it almost to the brim with water, and then take an ice cube or two and stick it in that water and watch the water raise up a little bit, right? So now your water's right there at the edge where the shoreline is on a lot of the continents. Okay, there's your water right there, and you've got your two ice cubes. Okay, so let's say one of them ice cubes represents the Arctic, and the other ice cube represents the Antarctic. Okay, you know, that's ice up on both poles. It's ice, lots and lots and lots of ice. So now go get your wife's or your hair dryer and turn it on and point it in the direction of your ice, and watch that ice melt, and watch what happens to that water in that glass. Do you see that water raising up a little bit, spilling over the edge of the glass as the ice melts? That's what's happening in our world right now. Okay, go ahead and try it. Try that experiment. You know, that's what's happening in our world right now, and it's not going to be like a giant wave of water coming at us all, you know, in 6 months or a year. It's going to take a while, but the thing is that as that ice melts, and that's a lot of ice on both poles, the water is raising up little by little. And so some of our shorelines are going to be underwater, and some of our low-lying islands will be completely submerged, and low-lying areas like the Florida Keys will be underwater, and other places around, you know, our country, in the world too, you know. But that's what's happening, and I was surprised that this girl knew what I was talking about, you know, because I don't run into too many people that really know the facts and have interest and know what's going on. So you need to wake up. I know I say this quite often, but you guys need, and me too, we all need to wake up and become aware of what's happening in our world. Okay, just don't be like an ostrich and have our head in the sand. Let's don't be like a lot of people who hide from reality and don't want to, you know, get out of their comfort zone. Okay, there's a revolution, and let's join this revolution and do something about it. Okay, hope you guys got something out of this video. It's short, sweet, just a couple, you know, just an idea that I had yesterday as I was talking to this lady, or this morning, and that lady yesterday. You know, this idea that popped in my head, and you know, we need to educate more people about what's going on in the world. Okay, so let's make a change. Let's don't wait for Trump or somebody else, you know, who's in charge of the country and the government. Let's don't wait for them to do it. If we wait for Trump, it's going to be a long time coming, because he'll just deny it. You know, it ain't happening. and a lot of other people too. And you all know who I'm talking about. Okay, so let's wake up, let's make a change. Hope you guys liked my video. Yeah, hit the like button, subscribe if you like. Look at my links below, down below the description. And just remember, run, EV, run. All right, thanks y'all. Have a good day and bye-bye.